Morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexi Otts here. It's Thursday. We're going to have a Thursday think tank today. I went and watched Greg Hubbard's amazing channel, Ghubbstown Clink. I never say that right, but Greg is awesome. I love Greg so much. He has a new clip. Y'all check out his channel. He's all about making some predictions this week. And he also got a cameo time or something with Matt and Jack, which was totally awesome to see him interviewing Matt and Jack from our announce team and stuff like that. Paul B saying, yeah, great video, great vibes. Yeah, I love that video by Greg, and it has inspired me for our live stream today. That Greg was making bold predictions on his latest video. In fact, I'm going to share a couple with him that I have also, that I'm reinforce what he said on his clip this week also myself. But good to see Paul B here. Monique's been in here already. She said Patrick McCaw is really trying to make an NBA comeback. He on the USA team right now too, or something like that. He's on one of the USA teams, but we've seen him at Rico Hines working with the Raptors and everybody there this last month and stuff like that. It's been pretty good. Raymond Jacob, good morning. Always good to see my good friend Raymond Jacob. This is our two-peat season. The other years don't count. I love this. Raymond Jacob, this is the way to think as a positive Raptor freak, as a member of the Raptor freak cult. This is sometimes the kind of delusion we will get into. We will just have amnesia about a couple of years and just like, let's put those years together, 2019 and a second Larry O'Brien championship this year, 2023. I love it. I love it. Good morning, Monique. So happy to see you. All right, y'all. So basically today, I want y'all to give me some of your most outlandish, craziest predictions about what you think could happen this season. I have got 10 myself that I'm going to go over on this think tank. But if you get inspired and you want to go out on a limb and say something that may be not necessarily common NBA perception, go ahead and type it in and we'll analyze it and look at it. Because watching Greg's clip really made me realize, this is really what you're supposed to be doing this time of year. Now, last year I tried not to do too much of it. I did do some of it. But this is really not something I like to do too much on this channel. I like to deal with what's actually happening and stuff like that. But we can do a little great Criscom kind of work here and get a little bit tuned into our ESPN Ocho and get in the future is this, great Criscom, da, da, da. So the first one I want to say is, and this is the one that I share with Greg first right off the bat. And I love that he said this and he gave a lot of good evidence for why he believes this will happen. I'm going to predict right now, and a lot of us have been doing this already, the Raptors will be the number one seed in the East this year. Now, people will come and watch this, and they'll be like, what? You're a Raptors fan. Of course you're going to believe this, and stuff like that. Well, come on. Can we do a history lesson? Can y'all just go back and look at the last 10 years of Raptor basketball? Can you take that 1 year out that has Tampa associated with it? And if you look at the standings and the win totals and where we land, in the Eastern Conference, it's like top 5 every single year in the last 10 years, pretty much. So this isn't totally off base. Now, the thing is, last year we were 5. We were literally 5 out of the top 5. So we still made our top 5 goal. But this year, I think we're going to build on this. And a lot of it has to do with accrued familiarity between these guys. These guys aren't coming in like last year where they didn't know each other. We have Pascal fully healthy right now. We got Kim Birch healthy right now. You got OG seems to be healthy right now. And we're going to hit the ground running. Not only that, we've got this month of Rico Hines where all these guys are primed and ready. And we're going to jump right back into training camp in like a week or so from now. And they're going to be more and more primed and ready. They can take everything they learned at Rico Hines in LA and apply it immediately to training camp. It's almost like they are already have some familiarity with Christian Coloco, the main guys, which is really valuable, all just from being at Rico Hines. So if we have good health, more familiarity, our team was one of the best teams in the NBA for the second half of the season. We had a horrible first half of the season, and we turned it around and made it that much better. Nobody wants to say that we were just as equally good as the Boston Celtics from January 1st till the end of the season. And that, nobody wants to pay attention to that. So it's more likely we're going to be like that team in the second half of the season than the first half of the season, because that's when we were missing Pascal. That's when we were missing Chris Boucher and Ken Birch and different people at different times. And Greg's point about tinkering is so on point. He is exactly right. Last year, Nick Nurse was trying to put Svi and Yuta and people like that into our lineup and make them work. Well, they were causing dead periods of time in our rotation and minutes on the court. And I'm going to piggyback on Greg on this. This is brilliant what he said. I am so proud of you, Greg, for bringing this up because this is true. He can really kind of look at those minutes and really get solid time out of them this year because he has more dependable known quantities coming in to fill those minutes. Like we said it this week. Who the hell is going to get the bench minutes? It's like somebody of good quality is going to get them, whether it's Otto Porter Jr., Thad Young, Kem Birch, Precious. There's so many good options to bring in that are much more capable than last year. These are not fringe players that are trying to make the league. These are established vets that are very solidly in the NBA and stuff like that. I love it. I love it. I love it. Paul B saying 52 wins, I'd be happy with. 56 could be possible. This team is the 43 is that a 48? It's a 48 win team upgraded. We won't have these little mistakes that lost us several games with Otto. Now, no more draggage, wasted games, etc. Yes. Paul is reinforcing this. That's right. Draggage was involved at the beginning of the year. There's experiments with tinkering with him in the lineup and stuff like that. We hit the ground running. We know exactly who's really kind of in our rotation and who's important. They get those minutes for sure. And there's no unsurety about that. There's no like, he's got to come out and make shots to try and make the rotation. No, these dudes are just in the rotation because they're playing well and capable and stuff like that. I love Paul's predictions for the totals. I love to see 50 to 55 is where I've been talking about. And in a lot of ways, that is enough to get to number one in the Eastern Conference. If everything has a lot of parity, that there's so many good Eastern teams, if they're all kind of around 48, 50, and we get just above a couple teams like Boston and Milwaukee, we can get number one. And I think our ceiling is number one. Obviously, that's the highest you can get. And then, I don't think we can get much lower than 4, unless we have really bad things happen this year. Knock on wood, they don't. As far as injuries or any unforeseen weirdness and stuff like that. But I don't know. I think we're too deep. And I think that because of the way we build our roster, we don't rely on 1 or 2 superstars too much. That we have guys that will carry water when dudes are having to miss a couple of games here and there. And that was proven last year also. So let's see. G saying Raptors have the 4th most wins in the entire league over the last 10 years. That's right. We're in a category with Golden State, San Antonio, and the Clippers. That's the 4 most winningest teams in the last 10 years. Nobody wants to talk about how the Raptors are in that club. Are the Celtics in that club? No, they're not. Are the Sixers in that club? No, they're not. Are the Nets in that club? No, they are not. Not even close. So yeah, that's a really important factor that we have established continuous winning over the last 10 years, other than when we had to relocate and stuff like that. Monique says, again, 55 to 60 wins. Yes, Monique, I want to see that 60 win plateau. We've won 59 games is the highest total that the Raptors have won in a season. Let's do it, Pascal. Let's go for 60 this year. Fred, OG, Scotty, let's go get 60. Why not? Y'all can do this. I know y'all are more than capable to do this. You are Eye of the Tiger. You run and meet your match in the game, and you beat them down and get 60 wins this year. All right, let's see. Raymond Jacobs saying number 1 seed heading into All-Stars. Yeah. And Greg was also right about having home and court advantage is really good. If we are number 1, that really did help our championship run in 2019 to have home court advantage against Philadelphia in that series, home court advantage against Golden State in the finals. This was all very important. So as much as we say, 82 games is really just 82 practice games for the real season, which is the playoffs, that's not totally true. That 82 games can shape you having a better way through the playoffs if you have a better record and you get to play at home. And that is very, very valuable. In 2019, it was partially essential for us. That shot that Kawhi made, if it was in Philadelphia, who knows how it would have went. That the home court is an advantage. And that if you have one of the best records in the East, this will help. We had to play at Milwaukee's house. They had home court advantage in that series, but we overcame it. But the more we can play at home in the playoffs, the better. So that means a good record during the season, and we have to balance that with health and stuff like that. Let's see. Paul Raymond says we'll be the number one seed heading into the All-Star break. I like to hear that. I want to be that end to end. I want to be right up near the top, dominant number one team in the East for most of the season. I want the NBA to get beaten over the head with how they need to respect us as a real contender and a real team in this league. That we have to be that OP, that we come in there at gangbusters and we're at the top of our standings for most of the year. They have to pay attention. They have to consider putting more games of us on U.S. national television by the end of the year. And that's what I want to see. Paul B saying, I think Van Vliet's knee could play a big role. We can't let him burn out again. He was two different players last year. This is so true. First half of the season, Fred VanVleet versus second half of the season, Fred VanVleet, very different player. Now we can protect him in certain ways, and maybe that is something that we'll do. Maybe we're going to treat him a little bit more like Lowry in his last couple of years with the Raptors. Really let Fred baby himself during the season with his injuries or how tired he is or anything like that. We cannot do a repeat. Now, part of it was he was keeping us above water when everybody was getting hurt and stuff like that. He had to do so much more in the first half of the season. And I commend him for helping us get and steer through that rough water by putting everybody on his back and carrying us. Well, he won't have to do that this year. We'll hopefully be able to have different guys carrying different corners of the big heavy table instead of Fred just putting on his back himself when Pascal was gone and stuff like that. So yeah, I think that this is a key factor, Paul, and we need to just watch out for him. And I know that Nick Nurse will do things with the rotation in the minutes to protect Fred's knee, protect Fred's health, and things like that. I do really believe that also. Monique saying she is going to predict that Gary Trent Jr. is the sixth man of the year this year. Greg was really into the idea of Gary coming off the bench also and stuff like that. And I understand his reasoning is very good reasoning, actually, because he says don't start Precious or Gary, start Kem or Koloko with the other guys like Fred, OG, Pascal, Scotty, and then either Kem and Koloko and have a real center starting with them. I don't think that's a horrible idea. In fact, his reasoning is that he wants Koloko to jump the jump ball because he wants us to win the jump ball every time. And that is very sound deductive reasoning there also. That maybe you just play Koloko for the first couple minutes of the game, see how quick it takes for him to get his second or third foul, and then you pull him immediately, and then maybe you bring in Cam after that, or maybe you bring in Precious. I don't know. You have a different look for depending on things, but he's very big on starting Koloko just solely for the jump ball, and I can't disagree with this kind of logic because I do feel like that is a smart kind of idea in a lot of ways. But this would mean that Gary would be off the bench. And Greg's convinced that he will have just the same production off the bench as he would as a starter. I'm not totally convinced about that for Gary Trent, but I'd be willing to try it out. But once again, this is Nick Nurse's whole decisions to be made, and we'll see what he wants to do with the starting lineup and who he's going to give minutes to and stuff like that. So we'll have to see. Let's see. Raymond Jacobson, I think it's going to be another Golden State versus Raptors finals. He. All right. Well, listen, I actually have this as one of my predictions, Raymond Jacob. I have a prediction about Golden State. I think Golden State is not going to have anywhere near the same kind of successful season as last year. They are definitely not repeating. They are not going to go to the finals. And this is a bold prediction by me. All right, y'all. And that they're going to really miss people like Otto Porter Jr. and like Juan Toscano Anderson and these people that they lost immediately after the championship this year. Is that they're going to really miss these role players and that they lost some really key guys to flesh out their team. In fact, I'm going to predict two things about Golden State this year. That their older guys are going to look a little bit older this year all of a sudden. Yeah, I don't think Clay's going to come back and get to the level he was before. I don't think he'll ever reach that kind of level again. that his injury and he's just older now and stuff like that. Everybody's just expecting him to and stuff like that. I'm not. I'm all right. I'm a hater, but I'm just gonna say that right now. Now Steph's older, and that's not gonna. He's not getting any younger either. He's smart. He can do a lot of things. His game translates to being okay, being older and stuff. But at some point, this man is gonna have to show some sort of decline because of his age. I just how it works. Same with Draymond. So I'm really expecting that to be seen with some of their older, important champion warriors. And then the young guys are not proven, a lot of them. You got guys like Moody and Kaminga and people like that. And they're not necessarily the same kind of role players as Otto Porter Jr. and some of the guys that left, is what I'm saying. So I don't have any confidence in Golden State achieving any of the things that they did last year. That I think that they're going to be a good Western team, but I don't think they'll get to that far in the playoffs. And I also think that they're not going to be as good in general as that addition from last year. Let's just put it that way. That is my prediction, to a bold prediction with Golden State. There you go. So I disagree with Raymond on that, but Raymond's saying he sees a Warriors Raptors finals repeat. And hey, I'll disagree with it, but that's his opinion. That's his bold prediction. And we'll just have to see what happens. Maybe he's right. I don't know. Lolita saying mob bench 2.0, and that final duo is okay by me. Lolita likes the Warriors versus the Raptors in the finals. I don't mind it either. I think it would be a lot of fun. And I'd love to have a bench mob again this year. It looks like we possibly could. Paul B saying that Netflix Tim Donaghy special is worth watching. Makes the entire NBA and David Stern makes it look like catered to all stars and making money. Yeah, excuse me. Sorry. Yeah, Paul, I'll be probably watching it either not tonight, maybe tonight, either tonight or tomorrow. I'm going to binge watch it and get it watched. And on the Sunday special report, we will be covering the Tim Donaghy Netflix show. So be ready for that Sunday special report this weekend. Tim Donaghy Netflix series. We're going to talk about it and everything about it. So, Paul, let's save it for that, and I hope you can show up for that one, and we can talk about it then. I'm glad you watched it, though. I'm excited about seeing it. I've seen a couple of clips, and it looks very, very insider, interesting kind of stuff. Monique saying, you don't think the Raptors see the rankings? Of course they do. Let's go. Yeah, Scotty saw the 2K rankings the other day, and he was not impressed. I mean, this is what we were saying in the chat. This is just normal for how we get treated and stuff. And Scotty realizes this. This is part of what builds the chip on the shoulder of the Raptors team and makes them even more like want to prove people wrong. And Scotty's all about that himself. In fact, when he plays video games, he's like, y'all think I'm not going to win? Y'all aren't betting on me. You think the other team's going to win? When they put polls in on the games and stuff like that, he gets really upset when people don't have confidence in him winning. And if we translate that to ESPN rankings or experts saying what the Raptors are going to do, well, it might piss him off. He's that kind of guy that he will get upset like Michael Jordan would if you slight him in that kind of way. So, yeah, hey, go ahead, slight Scotty Barnes and feel his wrath is what I'll say. I know about it. All right, let's see. Naco the Nacho saying, I think we're going to be between 3 and 6 seed. Though these are players that managed to develop each year. Would it argue Pascal's playmaking and passing got better in Tampa? Yeah, I agree with this. I agree with this also. Pascal's development has been so great over the last couple of years. I think it's really brilliant that the Raptors decided early on to try and develop him as a point forward and really like go after him, handling the ball more and bringing the ball up the court. They started years ago, and it really has developed to a real fruition. This is not a fluke. This is not something that they just decided yesterday. This is something they've been developing for like 4 years now. Pascal handling the ball and being a distributor. So this is not something new. This is something he's very cognizant of working on and becoming more and more of and stuff like that. I love it so much because I love having point forwards. I think it's really is partly the wave of the future for the league, that Magic Johnson was just a visionary way ahead of his time, like decades ahead of his time. And that there may be more of a trend of like everybody wants to have a 6'9" point guard going forward, because that's just how it is. Players are bigger, stronger, and more skilled at high heights, like Scotty Barnes, and that he may be part of this new generation of very, very tall point guards. That teams will go in that direction once again, like the Lakers did with Magic. So let's see. Paul B saying another prediction: we will have 11 players score 30 in a game. I don't think that's too far off. That's not all in one game, obviously, but yeah, we very much have a lot of players that are capable of doing this. I mean, who would it like? Pascal, Fred, Gary, Precious, Scotty, OG, Chris, Otto Porter. That's 8. We could say maybe Delano. I don't know. Thad. I don't know if Thad will get 30. But yeah, it may be 11's a little too high, but it could be very close. Nako's saying point guard Scotty, shooting guard Fred, small forward Otto, power forward OG, center Pascal, at least until Koloko has more under his belt. Okay, so Naka wants Otto in the starting lineup and stuff like that. That's an interesting look. That's something that I haven't really thought about too much. That Otto Porter Jr. in the starting lineup. It could be that Nick Nurse tries that experiment a little bit. But once again, this kind of goes against what Greg was saying about tinkering around and trying different things and stuff like that. We kind of know how good that starting lineup that we used last year is. And that's why I really kind of want to stay with the incumbents. That if it's Fred, Gary, OG, Pascal, and Scotty starting, I feel like that is our best starting lineup, just because those are our 5 best guys. And that was Nick Nurse's philosophy last season for starting guys. It's like, who's available on this night? Who are my 5 best players? I'm going to start them. And that's really how he decided things last year. Because he doesn't care about having a really good player off the bench as a 6-man role, like what some people are saying about Gary Trent, that he wants the very, very best in the starting lineup. And that's why he's putting them in there. Let's see. Rank Scrubs here. Good to see you, Rank Scrub. In my opinion, the Raptors offense in the paint and post will leap forward and define NBA basketball similarly to a Steve Nash-led Suns team. Different style of offense, but our style is going to spawn imitation. Yes. Yes, preach on, brother Rank Scrub, because I do actually believe this also, that we are going to be copycatted in the years to come, because we are going to find a success that's going to astound people this year. And they're going to be like, well, whatever the Raptors doing, well, we need to mimic them as much as possible. And I love that you're alluding it to like the Steve Nash Phoenix Suns offense. That there was a different kind of feel to that up tempo, and the way that he worked off of Stoudemire and Marion at that time was very interesting with Steve and stuff like that. It's a very opposite kind of thing, though, because that's a very offensive, non-defensive kind of team, and we're kind of the opposite. We're a very heavy defensive team, and our offense is kind of something that's an afterthought and just kind of like, well, we'll figure it out, or we'll get baskets from our defense, or this one of the things fans are crying out for this year is let's get a up-tempo offensive transition game. That we kind of do it like Rico Hines, where we're just bringing the ball right down their throats right away and going right to the basket. Up tempo, high speed transition game with guys that can really move the ball up the court, and all of them can dribble and just interchangeable, and boom, they're just down the court and trying to lay it up or dunk on people right away. I'd love to see a Showtime fast break kind of team with the Raptors, and it could happen. It could very much happen this year. And Lakers fans would be like, we wish we had Showtime going on where we are, stuff like that. All right, let's see. Monique saying news and notes. Jay Lynn, year 13, officially playing overseas. Congratulations, Jeremy Lin, NBA champion of the Raptors over there in China, playing on their league over there. A random gamer. All right, you did finally show up. I was wondering when you were going to show up and get your flowers for your Montrezl Harrell signing. Good morning, Raptors freak. I'm not here to make anybody mad, but the Sixers just might win the chip this year. You know what? I can't disagree with you. You know why? Because you really have gone out and met your needs for this summer. You needed more beef down low against us in the series we played against y'all this year. And now you got a little bit more with Harrell and Tucker being there. And you have a real starting lineup now with real positions. You got Maxey, Harden, Harris, Harrell, and Embiid. That's a nice starting lineup. It's a traditional starting lineup. And Joel doesn't have to be just a big, mean, ugly thug in the middle. He has a couple of other secondary thugs next to him. I was not happy to see this signing, Random Gamer. So that's always a good sign for y'all. And I won't disagree with you that they might just win the chip this year. There is a possibility. Now, I don't believe Joel Embiid will ever win a chip. Now, that's the only thing that conflicts with that. But you know what? Your team is much better built now. And the fact that James Harden's being a good citizen, y'all are really poised to have an excellent year this year. And I'll be very interested to see how things go with you guys. And you know what? In some ways, maybe I'll root for a couple of you guys because I am a big fan of Harden and Harrell at this point. I do like Montrezl Harrell. That's another reason why I'm upset, is because not that I wanted him on the Raptors. It's just that I know what kind of player he is, and he's annoying. And I don't want y'all to have another annoying player on us and stuff like that. But dude, you should have a lot of good confidence and feel real good. In fact, I think that Philly fan can actually throw their weight around for once and actually sound like they're not crazy. That there's many years where y'all say, oh, we're going to win this and we're going to do that. And I'm be like looking at reality. I'm like, yeah. But no, this year you guys actually have a plausible chance. And I'm not lying that way. I won't hate on y'all because y'all have done a good job this off. In fact, I think y'all might have done the best in the offseason out of anybody. Forget about Donovan Mitchell. Forget about Gobert. Forget about DeJounte. Forget about the Celtics. All these other. I think the Sixers had the best offseason in some ways. I'm not gonna lie. Good morning to Sue. Love seeing Sue in the morning. Denal saying, I'd love to see a Lexi mascot out there for games with the Raptors. When our team is down, he'd hype the crowd up with "Let's go." Denal, that's hilarious you say that because in the early 2000s, I worked at the Air Canada Center making Mr. Sub, and I was quite often, all right, listen, you know the people that come there, the Raps crew or whatever, that throw T-shirts in the crowd. They come out and they get everybody going like this and this. Well, I was the first one who did that in that arena, and it wasn't official. I came out there in my sub uniform and got in the aisle where they stand, and I would hype up the crowd like that before they had any kind of Raps crew. And this was like circa 2000 to 2004, Vince Carter years. And people would get mad at me, like I'd be yelling, and the kids would get up and listen to me and yell and cheer, and the dads would be like, "No, sit down." They're like, sit down, like it's a rep basketball game. I'm like, what do you mean it's a basketball game? Get on your feet. So I have done this kind of work for us in the arena before, Denial. So yeah, I get out there and say, get up, get on your feet, let's go, let's get loud. I was that guy, and I almost got in trouble for doing it a couple times, but I didn't care. That's how much I cared about the Raptors winning. That I get out there and put my job on the line in the arena to get people out of their seats and get them more animated. Because at that point, basketball fans didn't know how to properly get the energy right in that building sometimes and stuff like that. So I've already kind of done that role that you're talking about, Denal. Raymond Jacobs saying, I predict Nick Nurse will lead the league again in technical fouls. He didn't lead the league in technical fouls last year. Come on, Raymond. Did he? I want to see that stat. I don't think that's true. First of all, Nick Nurse gets technicals on purpose. He never gets a technical when he doesn't want to. This is the first thing we need to realize. That he said it this summer that he always gets technicals that is very calculated, and there's a reason for why he gets his technicals or he gets thrown out of the game. That he has that for motivation and different things, and he may get a technical just for politicking and stuff. I want to see the stats. I don't believe he was the leader last year and stuff like that. But that's an interesting observation. He doesn't get them by mistake. He gets them very much on purpose. Let's just put it that way. Guardian Transit saying East looks much stronger this year, but my pick is Raptors third in the conference, wins 51-53 games, conference finalists or NBA finalists. I love this prediction. Guardian Transit. I think that you know what you're right. The East does look a lot stronger. There's some younger teams that are going to be better this year and stuff like that. In fact, I want to do a bold prediction. Another one on my list right now is that listen, the Pistons will have about the same record as the Cleveland Cavaliers. Everybody's hyping the Cleveland Cavaliers right now. It's Donovan Mitchell and this, blah, 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 blah. Who cares? Detroit is going to be just as good as y'all, and y'all are both going to be playing teams. That's what I'm going to say right now. Bold prediction. Detroit may be better than Cleveland or exactly the same. There you go. That's my bold prediction with those two teams. I think that the Cleveland hype train right now is a little bit too ahead of itself. That I don't think that they understand exactly how this is going to work and whether it will work, actually. They just want to believe it's going to work. Add 50-point possible scorer on team, and it just gets better. Well, that's not always how the NBA works. And we're going to have to see. I really do think Detroit is on the rise. And that with some of their young players maturing a little bit more, like I said, Cade Cunningham's in a similar situation as Scotty Barnes. He's in his second year. He knows what he's coming into. He may be a little bit better of a leader. And those other guys around him are developing and getting better also. That Detroit's doing things similar to us. They keep the same core and then they just add more talented rookies like Jaden Ivey under it. Look out. So that's what I'm going to say. Detroit and Cleveland will be very equal in the standings. They'll be right around each other, and they're not going to be near us. We're going to be way up high, and they're going to be right in the middle. So there's a bold prediction right there. Let's see. Monique saying, happy retirement NBA champion Jody Meeks. Jody Meeks is retiring. Wow. He's down playing for US and South America right now, but maybe he's just retiring for good after that. Maybe something happened down there and made him think, oh man, I'm getting too old for this shit. Okay, Danny Glover, then go ahead and retire because you're getting too old for this. He probably said it right around the same time. Did you know that Danny Glover said that in Lethal Weapon when he was like 44 or something like that? Did you know he was that young when he said that? That's crazy. Nako the Nacho saying, I'm thinking Bucks or Nuggets are getting it. Okay, so Nako's bold prediction is he thinks that Milwaukee or Denver is going to be getting the NBA championship this year. Those aren't bad picks. I mean, you got the MVP for the last 2 years, and then you've got a guy who's already won it and is showing such overpowering play in Euro basketball right now. Giannis Antetokounmpo. I don't say that anybody who thinks of the Milwaukee Bucks as a championship contender is crazy. They're not crazy. This is a good team, and they have a good leader, and they are one of the better run franchises in the league right now. So, yeah, Milwaukee's definitely a contender. I can't go against that. Raymond Jacobs saying to Random Gamer, but Doc Rivers is your kryptonite. You had to bring that up. Yeah, and Random Gamer saying, I know I'm so scared of that. Wow. Well, we'll have to see. You guys could maybe get to like the Eastern Conference Finals, and then boom, Doc Rivers shows Doc Rivers kind of tendencies, and then listen, this is what we do as rivals. We point out where things could go wrong for each other and stuff like that. So all right, let's see. Paul B saying, don't indulge in any positivity towards the Sixers. They're going down. We're the number one. Just wait. And he's winking. Listen, we've had a goodwill tour this year with Random Gamer and other Sixers fans. I'm trying to be objective. I could be blindly hateful towards the Sixers, Paul, but I don't want to do that. I want to have a little bit of rooted, like in, non-biased, like objective NBA observation. And I have to give it to them. Seriously, as much as I think Daryl Morey's an idiot, he's actually doing a good job this summer. And the fact that James Harden's bought in, this is really good for Sixers and stuff like that. He's not as much of a question mark as he was last year or the year before and stuff like that. He's actually becoming out of his enigma phase and actually becoming more of a known quantity as a teammate and a solid teammate at that. So it's going to be very interesting. Random Gamer saying Sixers versus Raptors Eastern Conference Finals. Let's get it, bro. I hope this happens. This is a great, bold prediction. I would love to see this at that level. Oh, yeah, we don't want you guys in the first round this year. Let's get each other in the Eastern Conference Finals where it matters the most, baby, and make it very reminiscent of the other series we played y'all in the past, like the shot with Kawhi and the Vince Carter shot also. And well, this last year we owe you guys. You guys are up 2-1 on us. We got to get you in the fourth matchup with you. Oh yeah, we do. Isaac Campbell saying the heavy competition for the last roster spot is indicative of a culture shift and utilizing a much deeper bench. Also, Raptors will have plus 20 more wins than the Lakers. There's a great bold prediction. The Raptors will have plus 20 more wins than the Lakers. In fact, I have a Lakers prediction I'm going to make in just a second. You know what? I love what Isaac's saying here. And Greg said it too on his clip this week that, if you're looking at the camp battle from last year compared to the camp battle this year, the talent is way higher. In fact, we're going to be cutting guys that would easily made our team last year if they had been competing against guys from last year that made the team. Seriously. So this is not an understatement. This camp battle and the caliber of players that are trying to make our team at the very end is much higher than last year. That's very, very true. Now, my prediction about the Lakers is this, guys. All right, this is for both the Nets and the Lakers, the two dumpster fires, the two super teams, the two, anointed teams that were going to be championship contenders. In the last 2 years, they've been dumpster fires and nowhere near being championship contenders in reality. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to get a three-peat of that this year. And that, listen, this is what I think is going to happen. I think the Lakers will actually make the play-in this year compared to last year. But that's all they'll get to. They'll get the play-in. And partly it'll be because of Patrick Beverley. Patrick Beverley's going to rise them out. And he's that kind of guy that he's like, man, I want to make the playoffs in my career almost every year. And he is all about that. So, in somehow, some way, he will drag that team, even if it's dysfunctional, has problems. It seems like him and Russell are cool, which is a good sign for them. But I think they'll still be right there. And as far as for the Nets, I think they'll be about the same as they were last year, maybe a little worse. I don't have no confidence in Ben Simmons. We obviously Kyrie's got his issues and things. I can say all the things, but I sound like a broken record. And then the whole thing about Kevin, like putting his GM and his coach at odds with him this summer, is not going to be healthy or helpful for this year. That they have some things go wrong. Maybe there's some injuries. Maybe somebody's a knucklehead. Somebody pisses somebody off. There can be a lot of dysfunction on the Nets. And this may be more and more important for NBA teams to be successful than people realize. You can have great players and stack all these great names on your team, but if they don't play well together, there's not good chemistry, there's not good energy on your team, you're not going to go anywhere, because guys are going to sit and guys are going to feud, guys are going to act stupid. So I really expect the Nets to be very much right around where they were this past year, whether they're in the play-in or they're just the sixth seed, just barely getting into the playoffs. But I do think they will have some say in getting in either the play-in or getting one of the last spots in the playoffs and stuff like that. But they're not going to be a championship contender, and they're not going to be near the top. Let's just put it that way. So there we go. We bold predictions today. That's what we're doing here. Lolita's saying the U.S. media will finally admit that they are wrong in undermining the Raptors, that we are champions and our team is just so good. They need to just give a little bit of respect. That's basically what it is. It's like we're fooling y'all over and over again. Or maybe you just want to be part of this perception war, that you're going to say this and hope that it's just true. Well, that's not always true. Just because you put it in the press and stuff like that doesn't mean that this is the reality of things and stuff like that. But I really just want them to start respecting us, that this is a winning organization. This is a team that is in the playoffs year in, year out, and we're on our way up. We're not like dysfunctional where we're causing problems for ourselves behind the scenes, and then all of a sudden we're a crappy team. No, these aren't the pitfalls we fall into. In fact, we build everything right to build us up and elevate us and launch us towards wins and winning and over again, stuff like that. So yeah, they just need to respect us more. And they're stupid for not doing it already. That we have a proven track record for a long time already. So Nako's saying Detroit front office have been making some of the better moves in the league recently. Yeah, Nako's noticing what's going on with the Detroit Pistons, and he's impressed. And you know what? Listen, they're dangerous. Obviously, we have our issues with them. And Casey he doesn't hate Toronto. He doesn't hate Messiah and Nick Nurse. But I'll tell you what, I don't think that he talks to Nick Nurse still. And that there's still kind of like a very serious competitive thing going on there. And this is the whole reason why Casey's revenge continues to happen to us, is because he has a lot of gumption to beat us. He really, really does, for personal and professional reasons, for sure. Oh, yeah. Raymond saying, but Lex, you said Dwayne Casey is not a playoff coach. I don't see him winning a chip. I don't see Detroit winning a chip. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that, listen, we look at Detroit, we look at Dwayne Casey's track record with the Raptors over the years that he was here. He showed up. We weren't a playoff team. And then boom, Rudy Gay trade, a couple of different things happen, and all of a sudden we're a playoff team. And then we're a playoff team. There's certain ceiling we keep hitting our head on. I don't think Detroit's going to win the championship. But what I'm saying is they're going to get in the play in at least, and they'll be about the same team as Cleveland as far as in the standings. They'll be very equal, or maybe I've even said Detroit will be better than Cleveland, just slightly in the standings. That's my bold prediction in that. But I think you're right. The Dwayne Casey still is too rigid in his going into the game plan, that he's not very good at like changing on the fly, calling audibles in the game. He really wants to stick to exactly what he already set up in the morning. And then if the game changes and it's kind of hurting his strategy, he's really bad at altering the course in the middle of the game. That was why we fired him. That's basically it right there, is that in the playoffs, we noticed that he wasn't adjusting fast enough to the adjustments from the other side. And Nick Nurse is the master of that. And that is a huge difference in that kind of thing right there and stuff like that. So, yeah, he's a regular season coach for sure. And that's part of the reason why I think they'll do just as well as Cleveland, is that Casey's not been winning in Detroit too good so far, but he's ready to have a breakthrough with that young core. that he's instilled enough in them and they're starting to generate it, just like they did with us. It's a very similar thing to what he did with Kyle and DeMar 10 years ago, and how he started getting the inertia going in our franchise in the playoffs and stuff. He's going to do this with the Pistons. Now, there will be a ceiling where he hits his head, and it's just like, I can't go any higher with Dwayne Casey. But it's interesting. Paul B saying we only lose if we don't make shots. I don't think that's what's going to be a thing with a Koloko on the boards. Porter hitting 40% from three, et cetera, et cetera. Thad and Boucher chemistry. We know our defense is just solid and it's going to be there and it's going to be badass. Our defense is going to be so overpowering in different ways. Our offense is what struggled and been our Achilles heel this last season. So this year, if we can be more confident on our offense, more like this is what we're doing and we're executing, and not so haphazard and kind of like patchwork or just like bail us out at the last minute, last second of the shot clock. OG with a three, please. If we really are more purposeful and our offense flows a little bit better, maybe because they are playing more together, and Rico Hines definitely helped for this kind of stuff, then maybe our offense won't struggle so much this year. And that could be a real way that the Raptors have a much better improved season this year compared from last year. Because we really did struggle on offense a lot last year at different times. And hopefully this year that won't happen as much this year, where we're just feeling like we hear Matt Devlin saying, oh, the Raptors haven't scored in the last 4 minutes. We don't want to hear that this year and stuff like that. Randolph Phillips, good morning to the most informative Raptors last year. Thank you, Randolph. Man, that's a big compliment and stuff like that. Listen, I'm not the same kind of animal as most Raptors content producers. That's for sure. And I do really appreciate the people that enjoy what I'm doing with my channel, my niche and stuff like that. It is really a specific audience. And I'm really glad, that you guys have found me. And I hope more and more people like us find me. But there have to be real ones. They can't be casuals, and they can't be people that think that the Raptors are doomed to fail. That is not what we're doing here. No, we're not. And Randolph, I really appreciate that. To our knowledgeable host, Alex, be blessed. But blessings back to you, Mr. Phillips. Man, I love you guys so much. Monique saying Pascal will get more respect and good calls. All-Star also turning heads. I think it was egregious that Pascal was not on the All-Star team last year. We've talked about it this week about LaMelo getting the spot, Jared Allen getting it added on, stuff like that. Maybe Pascal should have been there since he was All-NBA. And I think maybe they will make it up to him this year. It could mean that Fred's not on the All-Star team this year and that we're seeing a Scotty and Pascal All-Star combo going for us. And we should have two. If we're near the top of the Eastern standings when the All-Star voting is going on, we need to have two representatives at that game like we have in the past NBA. And you need to send those two guys, if not Fred also. So that's what I'm going to say about that right now, Monique. And I love that prediction that, hopefully he will get better calls because he has more respect. People in that league need to understand this is a nice dude. He's a good dude. He's not messing with y'all, refs. He respects y'all. And he wants y'all to respect him back. So give him that. And one! Yes, please, Paul B. Spicy has a 50-point game. Here's a bold prediction. Paul B thinks that Spicy's going to join the 50 McNugget Club. I think we could do this maybe. Yeah, we got Fred up there. We got Gary up there. We have DeMar. We got Terrence Ross. We got different guys who've got 50 points for our team at different times. Well, maybe it's time for Spicy P to get a higher career high than ever this year. I think this is a very sound prediction. It may not be even that bold. This may be very likely, is what I'm saying. I'm a fun guy saying Pascal needs a 50-point game, and I think the media will call him a superstar. There you go. That's another good reason for him to do it. That opens a lot of eyes, and it makes him a lot more legitimate in the eyes of the mainstream NBA. I love it. I love it, fun guy. All right, Shane Waters, here's his bold prediction. We are sweeping the Pistons this year. That is kind of bold considering we got swept by them last year, but in a way it isn't. Because there's been a weird pattern where we fire Casey, the next year he sweeps us. The year after that, we sweep him. The next year he sweeps us. We sweep him. It's kind of like on and off. It's like we have beaten Casey since he's left. And maybe this year we'll have the right chemistry and the right formula against his team and maybe the right bounces and breaks for that to happen. I know Raptor fans are already circling that noon game on a Saturday in the second half of the season against the Pistons. as a game where they want to go down to Little Caesars Arena and take over, baby. But some people are saying, they told us in the stream that they're not even allowing Raptor fans, people that are in Canada from this cell service, to buy Pistons tickets to their arena. That they are trying to figure out ways to block us from getting in their building. And they look at where you're buying them from, and if you're not in the U.S., they don't let you buy them. So, but we're a smart fan base. We'll figure our way out around this, and I'm sure we will be there no matter what. They can't stop us. We will be there at that noon game on Saturday in Detroit when the Raptors show up. Oh yeah, we'll be there too. Trust me. All right, Sue has retracted that message. Let's see. I'm a fun guy saying Pascal also needs a deep playoffs run, and he's definitely going to be called a superstar. Yeah, this I love that you guys are building up the ways that Pascal can get more respect, and I agree with all of this. Seriously, we won a championship without Kawhi, and Pascal and Fred and OG get. I mean, not really OG, but Fred and Pascal really get elevated because they really are super part of common threads. It's the same reason why Steph Curry is celebrating this championship this year more than his ones before, because he did it without Kevin this time. And that is something that if Fred and Pascal can say that they did it without Kawhi, that is a huge thing to say about them being a common thread for championships. And that is a big part of it. Sue's saying, let's hope we shut Casey's revenge down this year. Yes, Sue. Yes. I hope so too. I am giving them flowers though. And I say they will be a good team, and they probably will be in the play-in or the playoffs. I don't know if they'll make the playoffs, but I'm pretty sure they'll be a play-in team. Lolita saying the only chance of Lakers to be winning again as is was in the past when they passed Kalo. It's funny. Now they have Bev and Russ. Yeah, it's such a weird combo. But I love what Patrick Beverly said. It's like, are you excited to be playing with LeBron and Anthony Davis? He's like, no, they should be excited playing with me because I made the playoffs last year and they didn't. Ooh, snap. That's the kind of attitude and badass they need on that team. No lie. And that, he may ruffle LeBron the wrong way in certain ways. But then again, LeBron may be like, you know what? We needed you here because you are just a breath of fresh air. And you're exactly the kind of attitude that we needed on our team. So it could go either way. It could go where Patrick ruffles some feathers and there's some problems, maybe with Russell, maybe with LeBron. I don't know. Maybe with the coach, maybe with the referees, maybe with other teams, because that's who Patrick Beverly is. Or maybe he actually really is like loved and valued by all of his teammates. And they're really like, LeBron's like, I'm so glad Patrick's here. It could go either way because Patrick Beverly's a lot more mature at this point in his career, and he isn't taken away from the team. He really does add to it. But the problem is he has no filter, and he's going to say things to people on that team that may piss people off. And it could be that he pisses one of their big three stars other than him on there, and there could be dissension, stuff like that. That's what I'm looking at. Raymond Jacobs saying Detroit will let Casey go and hire the assistant, and that year the Pistons win the chip. Poor Dwayne. Raymond Jacob, oh, you're hilarious. You know what? Listen, in some ways, I want to do a good faith tour for Dwayne Casey. We're going to do a Saturday Share the Love Club for Dwayne Casey before the season because I do want to share love for him for what he did for our team. And that he is an important part of the Raptors' history and us getting our championship, even though he didn't win it with us. So maybe it's just me giving him something to say, we appreciate you. Please let up on us, please, too, is what part of it's going to be also. So we look for a Dwayne Casey Share the Love Club coming up in the weeks before the season. Monique saying Precious will take a deep, deep leap. 3 in 6 Man of the Year voting, and I'm keeping it like that. All right. She likes Precious also being involved in the 6 Man of the Year voting too. That means that to me seems more likely than Gary Trent, because I still think Gary's going to be starting as much as Greg and other people have been suggesting this. I don't like Gary off the bench. I really don't. And there's different reasons for it. Evelyn's saying Raptors will emerge as the team to beat. Let's go Raptors. Yes, I love this prediction. And this prediction is so true. We're going to come and get it. And Monique, Sue is actually backing you up, Evelyn. Lolita's saying Pascal, Fred, Scotty Precious, and Anunoby and Gary, all stars. Holy crap. That is very unlikely. That may be the boldest prediction made today by Lolita here. I love it, though. I mean, could we be like the Blue Jays this year in baseball and get like 6 or 7 All-Stars? Not probably likely. No. But yeah, I can dream, and that would be amazing. G saying, I'm excited about the bench improvement. They were dead last in scoring in the league. They will have something to prove and feel like they will come out swinging. Yeah, they will have something to prove. And it really is going to be so competitive to get any kind of minutes in the rotation and be consistently in the game. You got to think about all the different looks and the weapons we might have coming off the bench with the vets, Otto, Thad, Kemp, Delano, Coloco. If we have DJ Wilson, Justin Champagny, Wancho, these are all different, really interesting looks that we might be able to use at different times. And that these guys want to play, they have to be playing at their top level because then Nick Nurse will have more favor to wanting to put them in. And if they're not playing well and they start saying, oh, this may be a little bit like Svi last year, he may not have that very long of a leash for them to go out there and have time to fail. That he's like, well, he's not doing it right away. Well, we know somebody else will. Boom, they're in instead. And that's the kind of thing that I like because we don't want to waste too much time letting guys get into the game and make themselves comfortable. They need to be ready right away. And if they're not, they're giving us dead minutes, boom, you're out. And we will get one of these other guys in that will give us the good minutes and stuff like that. So, yeah, I'm really hoping, G, that you're right, that our bench is much improved. All signs point to this being true and that it should be that way. Monique saying chess versus checkers. That's right. I love that. Monique saying it's chess versus checkers with Casey. Yeah, I mean, in some ways you're right. In some ways you're right. I think it's just more reaction and stuff like that. It may be that in the old NBA you could get away with having a general game plan and not changing from it too much, but it's not that way anymore. People are pulling box and ones on people in games, like our coach. And would Casey be able to react to a box and one like that in the right way, like Steve Kerr couldn't in the finals when we played them and stuff like that? That's what I'm saying. You have to be adaptable. You have to be quick on your feet and quick with your mind on how you want to change things, and not too stubborn that you hold on to, well, this is what we're doing for this game. And that was Casey right there. All right, listen to this. This is my brother Carl Otts. Let's go. I think when I went and saw my brother, my niece and nephew this past weekend, I have a feeling that my niece and nephew are starting to say, let's go, while I've left, that maybe I rubbed off on them in that way. And that's pretty funny. I want to see my little nephew, Harry, on the baseball diamond yelling, let's go at his teammates when they're about to start playing and stuff like that. I'm sure they're doing that, Carl. You let me know if they're doing that around the house now since I left. They're doing the let's go. I love that Carl's doing it here. Raymond Jacobs saying, if Gary comes off the bench, you'll be hearing something from Gary Sr., no doubt. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, Raymond Jacob. And this will be on another level from Eric Flynn. This prediction is really funny, Raymond Jacob, because I think that you're right. Like if they jerk Gary around, Gary Trent Sr. might get on Instagram and he might be in a parking lot yelling at them on his Instagram or something like that, or at the gym. It would be like Nick Nurse, you don't want to play my guy? You don't want to start my guy? It's like, watch me work out. That might be what happens. And this will be on a whole other level than Eric Flynn. But because it's so ridiculous and fun in some ways, it actually might be very comical and kind of like, okay, is he being totally serious and stuff like that? I don't know. But I don't know. I think you might be right, Raymond. If they jerk around Junior, Senior might get involved like Eric Flynn, but it may be a lot more entertaining. Let's just put it that way. Monique's saying, okay, since we were predicting the Raptors, predict Eric Curry this season, Lex. Ooh, Monique, what a deep cut question from a true Raptors super fan to think about this. Eric Curry's going to be coaching the 905 this year, and he really is a scientist. He's somebody who looks at scientific method, and he bases a lot of his decisions on the court from mathematics and equations and deducing things. This is going to be a fun experiment to see him run a team with the 905, especially with the caliber of 905 he's going to get. This may be one of the best 905 teams that's been down there since Pascal and Fred were there with like Norman. That this is going to be a very interesting 905 team. And I want to see how Eric Curry coaches even more so and how he does things in certain situations. Patrick Mutombo was fantastic last year. And he's a very certain kind of coach himself, very disciplined, authoritative, demands you, take responsibility for what you're supposed to do on the court. Well, Eric Curry may be a little bit more understated, a little bit more nerdy, a little bit more like Spoelstra in some ways and stuff like that, a little more cerebral as a coach. So I'm very interested in this too, Monique. I hope that we win the G League championship. I hope that we're the number one team. That's what I think we should be. with our organization and the talent that is going to 905 for us this year is so overwhelmingly good. And that, man, this team should dominate that league this year. I'm really, really serious. Let's see. Patrick Douglas saying Precious has the highest ceiling because of his untapped skills. He is highly gifted. I'm betting on Precious being the most improved player in the league. I love this, Patrick Douglas. This is a great prediction. I love it because in some ways you're right. He is a true stud. That he has a lot of gifts. All right, here's some Precious news that's badass. And listen, we've seen Chris last year posting Dennis Rodman on his Instagram a lot because, he may want to emulate him. He's trying to learn from him. Seeing old clips of Dennis Rodman and how he positioned himself for rebounding, the things he would do to tie people up in position battles, things like that. He's learning from it, and this is really good. Well, let's who Precious is posting on his Instagram that he's impressed with is Tim Hardaway. That's right, a point guard, a little guy, a guy who's about to go into the Basketball Hall of Fame. Tim Hardaway was known for one move, and you guys know what that move is the crossover. And he was such a master of the crossover. He could do it through his legs and all this stuff. Well, Precious is emulating Tim Hardaway as a 6'9" forward. You can tell with his handle that he can do this, that we've seen him cross over Joel Embiid in the playoffs this year. That Precious is, listen, if he's trying to work on his handle, and he wants to be like Tim Hardaway with his handle, think about that hybrid. A 6'9" guy who has handles like Tim Hardaway. So that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. Precious is posting Tim Hardaway clips of his handles. And I think that's influencing what he's working on right now is his handles and stuff like that. So very interesting information this week with Precious celebrating Tim Hardaway in his crossover. And he may be an influence on him for how he likes to play, stuff like that. All right, Leslie saying we have Rico Hines all year. That is fire. That's a huge, huge development. And I'll say that that's the key word. That is a huge development for the team because it's the basketball development is going to go even higher. It's like the rich get richer. We already had the best development in the NBA. Well, now we have the best motivational development coach in the world. Honestly, I truly believe that this dude is carving out this niche of how he does things. And now he's on our squad. Look out. Lolita's saying, I miss Norman Powell. All right, speaking of Norman, here's my prediction about the Clippers this year, guys. I honestly believe that if Kawhi Leonard is healthy this year, if he plays even like he did for us in 2019 with load management, but he plays majority of the games, that him and Norman, those guys, are going to be in the finals for the West. That's right. My bold prediction is if Kawhi is healthy, the Clippers are going to rise to the top in the Western Conference, and they're going to be the ones standing in the finals against the Eastern team. That is my bold prediction for the Clippers. Kawhi is going to come back, and he's going to prove to everyone just who he is. That we all forgot that it's him, that he is him, and that he is a dominant player in this league, and he can do all kinds of stuff. In fact, the pictures we're seeing of Kawhi this summer looks like he's jacked up just like Scotty jacked himself up this summer. That these guys got extra 10 pounds of muscle on them. It's like once again, the rich get richer. These dudes are strong with huge hands and stuff. Now all of a sudden they're even more overpowering because they're even bigger and stronger. That's what I'm saying. Go look at what Kawhi looks like this summer and just imagine what's going to be happening with him if he's actually playing and healthy. So if he's playing and he's healthy, Clippers in the finals is what a bold prediction that I'm coming out with right now. Bam, 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 bam. Paul B misses Norman too. I can so much get behind this Clipper team with Norman Powell on it. I want Norman to do things too. I want him to look good also. And as we said with Vinnie Mac here the other day, he wants to see a Clippers Raptors finals. I would love that too. They're just like I said, just imagine the storylines between the Clippers with Kawhi versus the Raptors now in the finals. Scotty Barnes, boom, boom, boom. Oh man, that would be such an amazing series. Oh my gosh. Raymond Jacobs saying Clippers versus Raps. Yeah, he likes it. He likes it. Just hope Kawhi doesn't do a bounce on us. Yeah, well, that's why we need to get a better record than them. So that if that game 7 is in an arena, it's at Scotiabank Arena and it's not out there in LA at Crypto. So, all right, let me get into more of my predictions here. I still have a few. Monique saying, I wonder what the Harper family are thinking, etc. So extremely happy for them. Hope Mama Harper takes many trips to Toronto. I haven't seen news on Ron. Ron's being pretty quiet. I mean, I think he got engaged to his girlfriend this summer. There's, or maybe he just has, he's had like his anniversary. So I don't think he got engaged. I don't know. But he's had a quiet summer. A lot of it has been in LA. He was at Rico Hines the whole time. We've seen him doing a lot of fun stuff there. And then recently we've seen him doing more stuff with his Rutgers family and stuff like that around New Jersey and things like that. But yeah, he's excited to be on the Raptors, and it'll be fun to see how he does and see what he does and stuff like that. Lolita's saying Clippers just love our team. Develop your own team. Yeah, Lolita, I'm with you. All right, let me see which ones I missed. All right, there's a couple more on here that I want to do real quick. Let me see. All right, another prediction I'm going to make right now is 100% this is going to happen. This is not a bold prediction. I know this is something that is very likely, but I'm going to say that this 100% is going to happen. Scotty Barnes is going to be an all-star this year. That's right. I 100% guarantee that Scotty Barnes will be an all-star this year. I'm going to make that bold prediction right now. I don't think there's any wiggle room that this guy is going to be doing things in games and being more and more revealed as being so amazing with the plays and different things like that, that he's already doing it on Twitch. The early work is happening. People are really getting into him and stuff like that. He's getting a certain kind of popularity that all-stars get that's kind of outside of their own team. So I really believe this is going to happen, that if he has certain highlight reels and certain things he does this year, like whether it's no look passes, crazy dunks, awesome like setups or whatever he does, clutch shots, he's going to get the attention and he will 100% be an all-star this year. So I'm going to make that prediction right now. Lock it in. 100% Scotty Barnes will be an all-star. Stuff like that. Patrick Beverly says, I don't like Clippers versus Raptors. I love it. That's practical. Yeah, why not? Why not? Because listen, this is the next part I'm going to say. Phoenix is going to win at least 12 games less than they won last year. That's right. There's a bold prediction for you. The Phoenix Suns had their best season ever as a franchise last year. They're going down this year. They're not going to be as good as they were last year. They're going to have more problems this year. If anything, we know DeAndre Ayton is a little iffy. I mean, sure, he's back with them. He signed, but there was a little bit of a rift at the end of the season with how Monty Williams and him were interacting at the last game of the playoffs. That there was a real failure for them in the playoffs last year. So I'm wondering, Chris Paul ain't getting any younger. And listen, I really do think that Phoenix will not be anywhere near as good as they were last year in the regular season. So expect them to be below the Clippers and a couple other teams like maybe Memphis in the standings. That's what I'm saying. They're going to win 12 less games at least than the 60 plus games that they won last year. I think it was 65. We'll pencil them in for like 53 wins or something like that this year, because I don't think they'll be anywhere near that stratosphere that they were at this year and stuff like this past year. So Monique's saying many leaps for Scotty in every aspect of his game. Called it loudly. All right, Monique is shouting it from the rooftops. Scotty Barnes is going to be good all around this year. I love it. All right. Here's another one, guys. Miami. Miami will either be in the play-in or the number 6 seed. I don't think Miami is actually a legitimate top team in the East at this point. I think that they messed up this offseason, and I think that they're going to show their age even more so next year. They're not going to be as good as they were last year. They've lost P.J. Tucker, and they don't have a power forward at this point. Miami has no power forward. They're going to have Bam Adebayo at center, and then they're going to be running small forwards with him, 2 small forwards. They're an undersized team. They're going to get bullied. And Kyle's not getting any younger. Kyle's going to be, I hate to say it, I love Kyle. He's the greatest Raptor of all time. But he's going to be somebody that's going to get a lot of grief from Heat Nation this year and stuff like that, because he's on the decline. He's getting older. He's near the end of his career and stuff like that. And mix all that in with what's going on with their team. They're going to be worse this year. They may be a play-in team, just barely trying to make in the playoffs, or the very 6th last playoff spot. That is my prediction for the Miami Heat, that they are not going to be one of the top 4 Eastern Conference teams this year, that they messed up, that they don't have a power forward at this point. They're going to try and play Max Strus at power forward. That is all you need to know right there. All right. How about that? All right. So let's see. Scott, Lolita's saying Scotty All-Star 100%. Another check off the bucket list. Listen, it's not even that I'm just giving you insider knowledge. That listen, Scotty goes and does what he wants to do. Listen, this is a very determined young man. He wants what he wants in his life. If he wants to be an all-star this year, he's going to be an all-star this year. He wanted to be rookie of the year last year. Well, he was rookie of the year. So this is what's going to happen this year also. He's going to want to be an all-star this year, and he's going to get it. And that's that's why I'm saying it's 100%. I just know his personality from watching him on Twitch now that this dude is going to be an all-star this year. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. It doesn't matter what other people want. He's going to be one because he wants to be one. All right, let's keep going. What else did I have on here? I want to make sure I say all of them. All right, another one that I've got here, I only have two more left, is Charlotte will not even make the play-in. I think the Charlotte Hornets are completely missed the playoffs and going to be near the bottom of the Eastern Conference. That Charlotte, you are not going to be even in the play-in. Yeah, that's a bold prediction, especially since people like to tout LaMelo as being so great. Well, listen, what's going on with Bridges? Harrell's not there anymore. This team is not that good. It really wasn't that good last year. We handled them pretty well when we play them. They're going to be even worse this year. So Hornets, you're not even going to make the play-in this year. That's my prediction for that. And then one more prediction for you guys real quick. The Spurs will not finish dead last in the whole league or in the Western Conference. The Spurs really on paper look like the worst team in the league. I'm not going to lie. They really do look like one of the worst teams in the league. But there's a pride in San Antonio. And they have a coach named Greg Popovich. And if he's competitive any kind of way, he's going to try and stop this team from being the absolute dead worst team in this league. So I don't see them being the very worst team in this league or in the Western Conference. There's going to be another team. It could possibly be Oklahoma City, could be Houston, that is going to be worse than the Spurs. And that may be how Popovich gauges his success. Is it, well, at least we're in that bad. I know they're trying to tank and get Victor, and they can try and do that, but still have an attitude of trying to build and be successful also. I just think that there's too much pride, that Popovich will not allow a team of his to be the absolute worst, dead last team in the league or in the Western Conference. Yeah. So, yeah, there you go, Raymond Jacob, bottom seed predictions. I had to do all of them and stuff like that. So there you go. Those are 10 bold predictions by me. I could review them, but all right, I will real quick. Raptors number 1 and no lower than 3rd in the East. Pistons will have a similar record to the Cavs, maybe slightly better than the Cavs, and they'll be both around the play-in. The Nets and the Lakers will both still be dumpster fires to a degree, but Patrick Beverley will do good enough to help the Lakers get in the play-in. The Nets will possibly be worse than they were last year. I know that sounds a little far-fetched, but, Ben Simmons, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, don't underestimate how much of a dumpster fire they can cause. Kawhi, if he's healthy, the Clippers will be in the finals for the West. The Spurs will not be at the bottom of the league or in the Western Conference. Too much pride by Greg Popovich. I guarantee Scotty Barnes will be an all-star 100%. Guarantee that this year. Miami will either be in the play-in or the 6th seed because their lack of size and that they're playing a small ball team that's not going to work in an Eastern Conference with a bunch of giants. You look at Philadelphia, you look at us, you look at other Eastern teams, and Miami's going to have all kinds of problems. Plus, they're aging. They were one of the oldest teams last year. They're not getting any younger. Phoenix will win at least 12 games less than they did last year. I mean, that's not really a bold prediction since they went so far up, but 12 games is a big difference. I really do think they'll be that much. They'll be a good team still, and they'll be in the playoffs. Don't get me wrong, but they're not going to be anywhere near where they were last year. Charlotte will not even make the play-in, let alone the playoffs. Golden State will not have anywhere near the success they had last year. They will not repeat, and they will be having struggles because they lost a lot of good role players immediately after they won the championship. People like Otto Porter and Juan Toscano-Anderson, people like that. And now they have to deal with a younger backups for them that aren't totally proven. There may be some growing pains. And then also, I really see that these guys that have been around on their team forever, like Curry, Draymond, and Klay Thompson, they may start showing their age a little bit more this year and stuff like that. So those are my 10 bold predictions in the book. I have the new Raptor Freak notebook and stuff like that. Yeah. Monique saying NBA announcements, a Seattle comeback. WNBA Toronto is a must, as I said earlier on previously. Yes, we want to see WNBA in Toronto. It would be really good for your league. Just trust me, WNBA. If you were in Toronto, this would be a real boom to your not just your economics, but your fandom. You will get good fandom from our city. So come on in here and get that. Just collect this goodies. Because Toronto's a perfect WNBA city, and we will treat it right and make it successful and help the league overall. Trust me, that's how it's going to happen. And I love the news recently that they are really seriously looking at expanding 2 more teams into the NBA, and they will be Seattle and Las Vegas. That's right. That Las Vegas team that LeBron wants to own and have is in the works. And Seattle totally deserves a team back in their city. Trust me, the Sonics need to come back right away. All right. Well, basically, that's what I wanted to do. Just do some bold predictions. Thank you, Greg, once again for producing a badass clip and shout me out. I'm going to shout you out right back. Bam. We can just bounce back and forth. Bam, 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 bam. It's like, go watch Ghubbstown Clink with Greg. I'll put the link in the comments and you can go see this brilliant piece that he put together. He talks to Jack and Matt, and then like also he has all these great bold predictions and stuff, and all these funny graphics and stuff. All the regular stuff that Greg does, and you also get to see some of the food he makes. Greg, where's my invite for breakfast? I'll come out there and eat some breakfast with you in Aberfoyle and stuff like that. Woo, woo! All right, y'all. So tomorrow is a Friday freak out. I'll be out at Adriana's house. I'm so happy. I finally get to go see Adriana. I hadn't seen her since the meet and greet, y'all. Oh my gosh. It's been such a whirlwind of activity and stuff. I'll finally go get to see my girlfriend. Oh my gosh. It's been crazy. But y'all have a great Thursday afternoon. Stay positive. Touch grass. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, whatever you can do. Subscribing is really the biggest one to do. And let's go, go, go.